In 358 BC, off Macedonia's coast in northern Greece, Iolaus of Athens, captured by pirates, buys time by recounting his uncle Hercules' legend. His father was Zeus, king of the gods, while his mother was Alcmene, a mortal woman. Zeus's wife, goddess Hera, saw their illegitimate son as an insult and tried to kill him, but Hercules took after his father and was nearly invincible. When Hercules reached adulthood, the gods assigned him 12 labors. If he completed all and survived, goddess Hera would let him live in peace. He battled mighty beasts like the Erymanthian boar and the Nemean lion, whose hide was so tough no weapon could pierce it. Hercules defeated it with his bare hands. The pirates weren't impressed by Iolaus's tale, thinking it all lies. But right then, Hercules arrives to rescue him, wearing the lion's skin on his head. The pirates aren't scared of their numbers, but quantity doesn't matter here. Hercules can take on multiple men at once. Plus, he's not alone. His team's got his back. There's Amphialde Argos, the seer, Autolycus, the Spartan thief, Tydeus, the wild Theban warrior, and Atalanta, the Amazon archer from Scythia. Together, these mercenaries easily defeat the pirates and rescue Iolaus. After tallying their bounty, Autolycus tells Iolaus to embellish Hercules' story to make it believable. Meanwhile, Amphialde receives a vision from the flames. They foretell a strange alliance between a lion and a raven, fighting amidst a sea of bodies. Later, the group celebrates their victory at a tavern. Hercules tells Autolycus he wants to sail beyond known lands for peace, taking Tydeus, as he alone can control his rage. Suddenly, the tavern falls silent as soldiers enter with Princess Herginia of Thrace, who asks Hercules and his team to hear her father's proposal at the palace, promising good payment in gold. Iolaus notes the raven on God's shields, matching Amphialde's lion-raven prophecy. At the palace, Hercules notices a large group of refugees behind the walls. They're greeted by General Cyclops, leader of the Thracian army, who seems displeased with Hercules' presence, and by Hergenia's son Arius, a big Hercules fan who knows all his stories. As they climb the stairs into the palace, Hercules recalls an incident 3 years ago when he killed a hydra, which was just men in lizard-like helmets for King Eurystheus of Athens, who declared him a hero before a massive crowd chanting his name. The memory sours as images of his murdered wife and son appear, and Hercules struggles to focus on the present. They meet Lord Coates, Thrace's king, who mocks Amphialde's limited foresight and doubts Atalanta's skills due to her gender. She swiftly proves him wrong by shooting helmets off the guards' hands. Coates invites them to dinner and explains his troubles. The country's in civil war with Rezo, a warlord believed to command centaurs. Coates shows Hercules the daily influx of refugees fleeing Rezo's village burnings and mentions losing most of his soldiers, leaving only farmers to defend his army. He and his daughter give a speech on peace, convincing Hercules to take the job. Next day, Hercules trains farmer soldiers, starting with a shaky shield wall test. Hours later, Hercules meets Coates, who has intel on Rezo from his spy, Phineus. The tyrant will attack the Bessi in Thrace soon. Coates wants to march and stop him. Hercules objects, saying the army needs more training, but Coates ignores him. As they plan to march the next day, upon reaching the village, they find it's too late. Rezo had already destroyed everything, matching Amphialde's vision. Something's odd. Some bodies are old, others fresh. These fresh corpses suddenly attack, revealing a trap. Hercules orders a shield wall around Codus, suspecting Zeus. As they fight, the tribe leader challenges Hercules directly. To create a story for Iolaus to tell, Hercules secretly breaks the tip of Atalanta's arrow, and as the tribe leader approaches, Hercules wounds his forehead with it, making it seem like a single punch killed him. The army, inspired, believes the gods favor them. The real battle begins. Hercules' team kills many tribesmen, but they're outnumbered and break the shield wall. They devise a simple plan. Hercules and Amphiarael use chariots to circle the wall, pushing and killing tribesmen. The remaining soldiers attack, but the tribe recognizes defeat and flees. Zeus's gone, but a strange figure watches from afar. Hercules tells Coates that losing half the army is as much his fault as Zeus', as he warned the farmers weren't ready to fight, and Coates agrees to extend training time. Meanwhile, General Siticles wants to kill Phineus for the trap, but Autolycus stops him and takes charge of the spies. However, he warns Phineus not to make another mistake. Moments later, Princess Herginia arrives with the healers and is taken to Hercules' private tent, so no one sees him bleeding like a mere mortal from a wound he suffered in battle. After she leaves him to rest, Hercules dreams of an old memory, his family's bodies, his bloody hands, and King Eurystheus exiling him. The king spared him so Hercules would live forever with the guilt of killing his family. He wakes from this nightmare hearing children laugh and finds his dead family among tribe corpses in the forest. Eating them is Cerberus, the three-headed dog, and Hercules prepares to fight. But Tidal appears behind him, snapping him back to reality, making him realize it was all in his mind. In the morning, Amphiarael knows what's up with Hercules. It's not new. He advises him to finish this last job and face the beast to find peace. But Hercules thinks he's just losing it. While the guys chat, Princess Ergenia sidles up to the crew to dig into the rumors. They say nobody knows the real deal. They found Hercules alone one day, surrounded by his family's bodies. But he can't remember a thing. On each adventure, he'd meet a team member, show kindness, and win their loyalty. He was so skilled, folks couldn't believe he was mortal. The team hyped up stories to land more gigs. They reckon he suffered from blood rage. It's a common thing that messes with warriors' minds. From that point on, Hercules and his team put Coke's army through a rigorous training regimen. They're given armor and weapons similar to Hercules' own and learn spear, archery, and sword techniques as well as hand-to-hand combat. They eventually form a shield wall that even Tidal can't break through. Meanwhile, Iolaus watches from a hidden spot, secretly training too. One day, Phineus returns with fresh intel. Jesus near Mount Hasticus with centaur forces. Hercules wants to engage him there before he advances further. The forest might slow their chariots, making it risky, but Hercules has a plan. Amphiaraus. Sadly, he can't predict victory, but knows he'll die in a week. Days later, the battle-ready army reaches Mount Astikos, finding no enemy camp. However, Zeus' army appears on the horizon. As they approach, they're not centaurs, just horsemen creating an illusion against the sun. Rizzo approaches Coates with Phineas, who was a traitor all along. Coates refuses to surrender and both sides prepare for battle. Coates' army forms a shield wall and deploys flankers, but Atalanta's archers strike first, emerging from forest carts, ambushing the enemy as they close in. When flaming arrows fly, Amphiorol opens his arms, ready for his fate, yet somehow none hit him. The battle is long and grueling. Rizzo's army is larger, but Hercules' troops are better trained and soon start to overpower the enemy. Rizzo's men flee, but he stays to challenge Hercules directly, which proves unwise. Hercules easily grabs his horse and throws both to the ground in one swift move. Later, returning with Rizzo in chains, Coates humiliates him publicly, but Hercules pities and helps him walk. As they walk, Rizzo tells Hercules that Coates is the real tyrant who burned those villages, not his men. At the victory feast, Rizzo is chained to columns. Princess Agenia tries to give him water, but Coates forbids it. Then comes his coronation. With Thrace united, Coates is now king of all. After Rizzo exposes Coates again, Princess Agenia leaves. Suspicious, Hercules follows, demanding answers. She admits Rizzo is telling the truth. Coates started the war after poisoning her husband, the true king, to take the throne. She only cooperated because Coates threatened to kill her son if she rebelled. Erginia begs Hercules to take Arius when they leave. He refuses, then General Sitakes finds them, saying Coates wants Hercules. Hercules confronts Coates, accusing him of treason. Coates laughs that gold-hungry mercenaries suddenly have a conscience. He admits wanting his own empire and invites Hercules to lead his army. When Hercules refuses, Coates pays as agreed and kicks them out. At the carriages, Hercules gives Coates his money, but Coates doesn't return it, not wanting outsiders on the team. Hercules wants to stay and save Atrasia, but Coates withholds payment to prevent the team from staying with him and lets everyone leave with their rewards to live a good life. However, Atalanta reminds him they don't follow out of obligation, but because they're family. They re-enter the palace, but General Sitakes awaits them with his soldiers. After disarming the team, Sitakes tells Coates he overheard Herginia plotting with Hercules to take Arius. Coates grabs Herginia's son as soldiers capture her. Arius sneaks the lion's tooth to Hercules before Coates drags him away by his hair. Hercules is knocked out trying to save the child. He wakes hours later chained to a wall, facing Cerberus. As his vision clears, he realizes it's actually 3 familiar-looking wolves. They belong to King Eurystheus, who enters with Coates, revealing their plot to rule all of Greece. Seeing his friends caged around him, Hercules slowly regains his memory. Cerberus was always just an illusion in his mind. What he saw that night 3 years ago were wolves attacking his family after Eurystheus drugged his drink. Eurystheus admits this is true. He did it because his people cheered Hercules' name louder than his own. Hercules was seen as godlike, threatening Eurystheus' power. He had to be eliminated. An ambitious man can be bought, but Hercules, wanting nothing, is far too dangerous. Coates orders Erginia taken from her cage for execution. Hercules watches, feeling helpless. But when Amphiarael reminds him that all believe in him and he must believe in himself, Hercules remembers who he is. He summons his strength, rips the chains off, and rushes to save Erguenia. Coates and others flee, leaving wolves to deal with Hercules. Erguenia uses the execution axe to open cages. The wolves fight hard, biting and wounding Hercules. But one by one he overpowers them all. He flings the wolves aside and stabs the last one with the lion's tooth, finally completing his final task. Erguenia frees the group. They grab weapons left by soldiers. Hercules shows his strength, lifting a metal door for their escape. As they climb the stairs, soldiers try to stop them, but they easily fight their way through. When a flaming spear is thrown, Amphiarael thinks his time has come and opens his arms, accepting fate. However, Hercules grabs the spear and kills a soldier with it, saving his old friend. While the group handles remaining soldiers, Hercules pursues Eurystheus, who makes excuses about Hercules' family. He tries to bribe Hercules with kingship and money, but Hercules doesn't care for any of it. He grabs Eurystheus by the neck, throws him on the throne, and stabs him with his own dagger, finally avenging his family. Now Hercules can move on and find peace after all this. His thoughts are suddenly interrupted by a whip around his neck. Cytocles throws Hercules down and prepares to kill him, but is stabbed by Iolaus, who sneaks up from behind. After finally calling his nephew a warrior, they join the group that rescued Rezo and leave the palace, stopping as Cotis waits with his army. Ares is held hostage by a soldier, and Cotis threatens to kill him if Hercules doesn't surrender. Suddenly the soldier falls dead from a thrown knife. It's Tolico, who's returned to help. Now free, Ares runs into his mother's arms as another battle begins. Tidal leaps to shield him from incoming arrows. Ares safely joins the group, and Tidal kills most archers but is hit by several arrows. As others create a firewall, Hercules holds dying Tidal, who speaks his only word, Hercules. As Cotis's army advances, Hercules sees only one way to stop them. He pushes a giant statue, crushing soldiers and sending Cotis into the abyss. With their king dead, soldiers kneel to Hercules, shouting his name as their new leader. Thus ends Hercules, the 2014 action fantasy film.